everybody, and welcome to a very special Fight and Focus. I'm Josh Chernoff, and we are here to talk about Fight for Freedom and Peace, which comes to you live June 11th, Saturday night, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on FITE. I am joined now by Dan Rafael and the one and only Mr. Don King. Don, thank you so much for joining us here.
It is my pleasure. I'm just delighted to be on FITE TV with the inimitable and incomparable Dan Rafael. And it's going to be an exciting hour of whatever we're going to talk about. And we're talking about freedom, peace, and independence, and sovereignty and prosperity.
Well, we are definitely talking. The event, of course, is called Fight for Freedom and Peace. And at this point in time, I am going to step out and I am going to give the floor over to Mr. Dan Rafael. Dan knows everything there is to know about boxing, so there is no one better for you to be speaking with. And I know, Don, you and Dan go back quite a long time. So, gentlemen, take it from here.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you very much, Josh. Don, always great to be with you. We had a great time chatting about Trevor Bryan's last fight back in January. Now we're here for his first title defense against Daniel Dubois coming up on Saturday. And I know you said it's a fight for freedom and peace, also a fight for a piece of the heavyweight title, as Trevor is going to defend his WBA regular belt for the first time, or for the second time rather. Now back in January on his last fight, that was also on FITE, he fought Jonathan Guidry, who was a late replacement for Manuel Shar. He is back in your old stomping grounds, back in Ohio, and he won a split decision in a very entertaining fight, in my opinion. Now, I don't think a lot of people thought it would be that way because they didn't know Guidry, who, by the way, is on your undercard Saturday. But Trevor came through with an exciting victory, and I just wanted to first get your take on the development of Trevor Bryan, where he is right now. He's undefeated, he has a belt, and he's going into this defense against the tough Daniel Dubois. Where is Trevor Bryan, your fighter, at this point, do you think, in his career?
I think this is going to be like a new beginning for Trevor, because it's up in arms, up in arms. The British are coming, the British are coming. We got it. You know, in 1776, when we were fighting for independence and freedom from the great empire of England, and it was a struggle, and no one gave us a chance at all. 13 colonies with a guy named George Washington leading them. Now we are back, and everyone is saying that he don't exist, and they're already celebrating the victory that before the fight he would get it with Daniel Dubois. And so we're looking forward to an evening of boxing. Is going to be quite provocative and exciting. So I want everyone to be able to get the chance to see it on FITE TV pay-per-view for only $29.99. And we're going to have 5 title fights associated with that. That's going to make it a real super card. These will be NAB. Guidry is going to be fighting for the gold NABA title. And so it's going to be a super card, man. And you got Johnny Langston. Let me give you this card here, Dan.
Yeah, Johnny Langston, Don, an exciting cruiserweight on your show.
Yes, he's fighting a cruiserweight, fighting for the title there against Isaiah Thompson. You got Trayson Wiggins is fighting Travis Costello. Ahmed El Biali is fighting Durbin Colina. And you have Anthony Link taking on Ian Green. And that is going to be for the the middleweight title. And then Raynel Medeiros is going to be a walkout fight or a change-in fight, but that's only 4 rounds with Ryan Wilson. So we got a card here that is going to be super with that. Curry Scott taking on Jonathan Guidry, and the Curry Scott is undefeated also, and he's the gold heavyweight champion of the NABA. So we got a card that we really got a lot to talk about, but it's going to be something that everyone is going to be excited, and I'm anticipatory, excited as I can be.
Now, certainly, we'll let the folks know that all of those title fights that you're talking about, they're important to the extent that obviously it's going to be an opportunity for these men to be seen by the public, but also by winning these fights, their regional title fights, it puts them in good stead with the organizations, moves them up the rankings to get their opportunity to fight for a world title. They have a world title match in the main event. And Trevor Bryan, Don, is a guy that you pretty much brought along throughout his career. I don't know if you had him since the very beginning, but certainly over the last several years when he's been involved in world level kind of fights. Tell me what you think about his development.
I think he's been terrific. He's a dedicated young man. He's a family man. He believes in God, and he believes in his family. So that gets me, because I walk dynamites, bombs, all of that's been on me, you know what I mean? And with him holding me, he's been able to keep me still here. When they say the cat has 9 lives, Don King has 10 lives, but it's Jesus, it's the eternal Jesus that makes me be where I am to be today, and how I'm still standing here. You would think this would be trash talking, and it would be something that it would be gesticulation, or a guy putting on extemporaneously a lot of conversation. But just go check the records and find out that everything I'm saying to you is authentic. You know what I mean? Dynamite bullets coming out my head right now. And so I just feel good to be able to talk to you, Dan. But I want to talk to the world, because this is going to be a great, great fight card. I'm looking to it with great excitement and anticipation. And we're going to have something that everyone will enjoy, because I learned promote the people. The people. I'm a promoter of the people, by the people, and for the people. And my magic lies in my people ties. So I promote the people. Give them what they want. That's what the OJs were saying. You know what I mean? Because all the time they say, they smile in your face, and all the time they want to take your place is the backstabber. They said, and then they said, money, 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 money. Everyone everybody gets caught up in money. So the OJs is my theme for the songs of life, the reality of life. And so what we do is we work hard, and we dedicate ourselves and redouble our efforts to help others. You know what I mean? And so I'm telling you, this young kid here has these type of attributes and qualities, and he's going to demonstrate them on Saturday night and June 11th. You know what I mean? So I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen with this guy. That's a fair, complete victory, not even a question about or doubt or nothing. You know what I mean? About it. So all the fans, we're all going to be sitting on the edge of our seats. We're all going to be seeing this thing develop right before our eyes. It will be history. Let's get ready to rumble.
There you go. Don, you said that Trevor, he believes in religion, a religious man. I think he also believes in knockouts. He's got 15 knockouts in his 22 victories, no losses. But he's taken on Daniel Dubois, who also is known for knockouts. He's 17-1. His only loss was to Joe Joyce, who's one of the very top contenders in the world in a mandatory position at Fight for a World title. So that was his only defeat. But he's got 16 knockouts in his 17 victories. He's a tough customer. This to me, it seems like Trevor's taken a step up in opposition, whereas for a guy like Daniel Dubois, he's already faced Joe Joyce. So at the very worst, he's fighting maybe the second best opponent of his career in this particular fight. What is your perspective on Daniel Dubois? Are you familiar with him? What do you think about him? He's a big, strong guy. Reminds me a little bit, to tell you the truth, in terms of the way he looks, of Riddick Bowe a little bit.
Riddick Bowe will be at the fight. Riddick Bowe is that way, and he's going to be at the fight. So I'm inviting all of the old champions and great fighters that were there. I'm bringing them in. And so they'll be at the fight, to see a new beginning. You know what I mean? The fight for peace, for freedom and peace. And we don't forget, that's what our story is. We don't forget where we come from. We don't forget the dirt road. So what you got here is going to be, this kid is a tough kid. There ain't no question about it. But he's so tough that they ain't even they said it will go 2 rounds. You know what I mean? So I'm just have to laugh, because I'm saying that's what they said. What Cornwallis was kidding us. As powerful as the British Empire was, wasn't supposed to 13 colonies wasn't supposed to kick this thing, and now we're sitting there calling America. And so I'm just looking at, boy, I'm excited, boy, because my fighter knows, he feels confident, he's self-confident, he's ready to rumble, he's ready to get in there and do what he has to do and do what he does best, and that's what it is, fight. So we're gonna have a really a show that I am, by no stretch of the imagination, I'll have to back up off of that. It's gonna be a great show. It's gonna be a great show,
So Dubois is from England. He's coming over here to fight. And I know Trevor's from upstate New York. He actually comes from Schenectady, near where I grew up, but I know he's based in South Florida. This fight's taking place in Miami, your promotion. But Daniel is coming over from the UK to fight in the United States. He's fought here before, but not at this level. What do you think it says about the young man that he's willing to go on the road to come to Dubois, essentially his backyard, to challenge for this title? I mean, that's not a lot of guys like to do that, but Dubois, like Trevor, wants to be a top heavyweight, wants to be great, and he's coming into the lines then to take on your guy for this title.
Well, let's put it in Dubois' words. I'm going to devastate Trevor for making me wait so long to get my title that rightfully belongs to me. So I'm going in there to destroy him. And so therefore, look forward to it when the bell says being for the round one, you know, it would be Dubois, you know, the new champion of the world. And so I'm going to show the people, friend and foe alike, you know what I mean, what it is to devastate, destroy a man.
Now he's been stopped, as I mentioned, in his one defeat. It wasn't like a points loss or a close fight. Joe Joyce inflicted himself on Daniel Dubois, stopped him, gave him a broken eye socket, did some real damage to him, you know, made him stop fighting in that fight. And I wonder if you think that there's something in the mentality that Trevor, if he presses him, if he goes after him and puts him in some kind of uncomfortable position, that maybe he could do the same thing and get the knockout. Or do you see this being a situation where maybe he boxes the way he did in some other fights and maybe it does go 12 rounds and he's just better technically than Daniel Dubois? How do you see that situation? I'm very interested in your thoughts about the fact that Dubois has been stopped because of an injury in a fight where a lot of people said that he quit.
Well, Dan, that is why they call you the genius reporter. You just now described everything that the fans will be anticipatory looking to see. You know what I mean? I couldn't put it in better words. You know what I mean? So Trevor will be right there, knowing what it is, know what Josh has done, and knowing how things are. He is going after the man, not the man going after him. Trevor, you enunciated it. You put it out there for everyone to see, and that's why they give you the reputation of being the top gun. You know what I mean? And by the way, the Top Gun broke all box office records. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen the movie yet, Don, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's unbelievable, boy. So that's another winner. But the idea is you got a show here that's going to be a tremendous show. An irresistible force against the immovable odds comes in to take and claim his crown.
Now, the winner of the fight is going to have the WBA belt, but the way that the WBA is structured, they actually have two champions. There's the winner of the fight. Presently, Trevor Bryan holds that title, but the super champion is Alexander Usyk, who is due to have a rematch later this summer, probably in early August, against Anthony Joshua. Usyk is a unified champion. He's a former Olympic gold medalist, the undisputed cruiserweight champion. That's a really big heavyweight fight. And the winner of that fight is going to, at some point, be ordered to fight the winner of this fight. You obviously hope that that will be Trevor Bryan. I wonder, just to veer away from this fight just for a quick second, or maybe a minute, however long you'd like to discuss it. But what are your thoughts about that fight? Because it really looms eventually for the winner of this match.
Well, first, I want the fans to know what a terrific patriot Usyk is. Usyk is Ukrainian, and Usyk gave up his, temporarily put his title aside and said, my country is more important to me. My family is more important to me. And so he went and joined the army to fight for the Ukraine, for freedom and peace for his country and the great, brave, and courageous Ukrainian people. Usyk gave up all this time, and he had millions now because he could stay in London or in England, and he didn't have to come back. But this man gave up all of that, without question. He didn't ask nobody, and went and got his, joined the army and to fight against England, against Vladimir Putin. Against Russia.
Right.
Vladimir Putin invasion of his country. So I took a great deal of admiration and respect for him, not only for his boxing skills and how he became champion, but for his patriotic love for country and family. You know what I mean? So that, the people need to know who Usyk is. All right. So now they have talked, after going and serve, the country prevailed upon him to go back into his career as boxing, because at this time he could be a major help through the PR and the press that will be helped to garner support for. It's really not even a war, but we're going to talk about that at the end of this thing, because this may be the beginning, if we don't stop this for peace, the beginning of leading to evolving into a World War III, and we don't need that, Dan. And we don't need that, because there ain't no winner in a nuclear exchange. There ain't no winner in a nuclear war. So, but I want you to know who Usyk is. Now, that would be one tremendous fight. A person take on Usyk, they're going to really have to take him on, because he would remind you of a guy named Muhammad Ali, who stood up and fought for his country and for his people, but for his religion, and stood fast. And the Supreme Court of the United States substantiated and reversed the conviction of verdict he had. But he gave up everything at that time, because no one can truly say how great Muhammad Ali was, because 4 years of his career, at the height of his career, he wasn't able to participate. And then after coming back after a 4-year layoff, he then went out like a young kid coming out and built a whole a mountain of success. So it was really good. So Yusuf and whoever it would be is going to be one tremendous fight. And I'm looking forward for it to be Trevor Bryan. You know what I mean? That's the dream. That's what they call. He goes out there. He's dreaming about America. He's dreaming about being the heavyweight champion of the unified heavyweight champion of the world. And so he got his job cut out for him. Unfortunately, he lost Tyson Fury because Tyson retired, but Tyson may come back, just like he retired before. You know what I mean? So I say, don't worry about that. Just beat whoever they got there. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'll do.
So, Don, it sounds to me like, based on what you're saying here, is that you think that Usyk is going to prevail and defeat Anthony Joshua yet again, and he'll be the guy that's going to have to fight eventually the winner of this fight Saturday between Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Well, you heard it first right here with Dan Rafael and Don King. You're on the money. You're spot on. You know, Yusuf is not only a champion of Cabell boxing, he's a champion of the people. And so therefore he has that extra urge and extra support, you know what I mean, to go out there and do what he do best, and that's fight. And he's going to demonstrate that whenever they fight, if they be August or September, or whenever, you know what I mean? But right now, that's all speculatively. But what we got at hand, that's like a bird in the hand is worth 5 in the bush. You know, we got the Fight for Freedom and Peace Saturday night on pay-per-view on FITE TV. That's the best one to be able to get it on at $29.99. And that's what I got, a guy named Weber. You know what I mean? He's a terrific guy that really worked great for FITE TV. And I'm looking forward to him to do his exemplary job that he always does. And he's going to do it better, because he's going to be excited himself. Even though the cameras is recording all this here, it's going to be new to him, what the recordings are. So it's going to be a super attraction. I want everyone to be there. Friend and for light. I want everyone to watch it. You got Dan Rafael and Don King talking about it, but we all got to go and see it with all of the millions of people that's going to be joining.
Well, I'll let the folks know, when you're talking about Weber, you're talking about Mr. Mike Weber, the man that runs FITE and does a great job doing so. So we'll give him his props. Don, one thing about Trevor Bryan that is interesting to me is that sometimes fighters, they languish, they don't fight often enough, they're very inactive. Trevor went through a period of time, partly because of the difficulties of lining up his mandatory defense, where he had a long layoff. Now, this is going to be his second fight in 6 months. I mentioned to you earlier, he had the fight in January in an entertaining fight against John Guidry. Now he's coming right back 6 months later, making the mandatory defense. I've always been one to sort of think that if you're going to make your name in boxing in whatever division, but particularly heavyweights, that if you can be in front of people and be active and have your name out there and fight these fights and keep on winning, that is the biggest boost that you can give to your career. And when you have Don King out there shouting about you and you're in the ring doing your thing, do you think that that's the best way for Trevor to make a name for himself? Because right now, I mean, he obviously is a good fighter. He's undefeated. He has a belt, but he's not the most known heavyweight out there. But the activity level, Don King shouting about him, getting some attention, that is going to maybe do wonders. And again, if you put on a good performance against Dubois, a very reputable opponent, that can build him up even bigger. How important is activity in this day and age in boxing, especially in the heavyweight division where you're trying to really break through the crowded scene?
That is vitally important. And thank you for that question, because the reason that he didn't fight, it wasn't because he wasn't ready to fight. It wasn't because I wasn't ready to promote. It was the WBA that prevented him. If he fought, they would take away his recognition. And so for 4 years, they kept this man in hostage, you know what I mean, with a guy that was in recess named Shah.
Manuel Shah.
Mahmoud Shah. All right, Mahmoud Shah won the title. He never defended it. And he won it in 2017 in November, and he never defended it. So he was a champion in recess And so what they did was he could fight. Trevor could not fight because if he fought, then he would lose his opportunity to fight with Mahmoud Shah, and Mahmoud Shah was the champion. And so that through that, this man wanted to fight every one of them years. He wanted to fight 2 or 3 times, and I knew that the only way he could be known is by fighting, which you also just epitomized. It has got to be able to be seen by the people. You got to win the championship, but then you got to win the people. You know what I mean? And win the people, you become a people's champion. And this man was denied that opportunity because of the bureaucracy of the WBA and the rules and regulations that they had with so many champions out there, that they would not allow this man to fight. And this is why he didn't fight, because if he did, then he would lose the opportunity fighting for the title. And so that's what hurt us that day. But you are absolutely right. Nobody knows Trevor. You know what I mean? All they know is that Trevor got the belt, but they're going to find out who Trevor is on Saturday night. And that would be a major spark, in his career, if he should be blessed by the Lord to take a victory out of that fight. But it wasn't because he didn't try, and it wasn't because he would win or lose. He didn't fight. He was prevented from fighting, so he was handcuffed and shackled, and they were trying to tell him to run the 100-yard dash. And you know about how much chance he got doing that.
Well, it seems to me, Don, that if he this fight, regardless of win or lose, this is his best opponent so far. He's had some okay opponents before. He got this. His first name opponent, if you will, came all the way back in 2018 when he fought against BJ Flores. And then he had the fight, of course, against Bermain Stavern, where he was able to win this belt. Bermain, of course, was a late replacement also for Shara, as you mentioned, all the problems in trying to make that fight. Stavern was sort of at the end of his career, but had been a champion before, had 2 high-profile fights against Deontay Wilder, went the distance with Deontay Wilder, the first man to do so before Tyson Fury did that. And then he had the John Guidry fight, but now Dubois is next in line. And it seems like he's in the best spot in his career, the bigger name in his career, has a popularity in the UK. How important do you think it is then, not just to win and look good for Bryan, but to do so against a very reputable opponent like Daniel Dubois, who again is in my estimation anyway, the best opponent so far of his career?
I think it would be fantastic, Dan. I think you said it so saliently. You know what I mean? This is a fight for Trevor's career. This fight here is going to be the biggest fight of his career. I don't care whoever he meets coming after him. You know what I mean? So he got to put all his time, effort, dedication, and commitment to Daniel Dubois, because this is the fight, because he didn't get prepared for fighting Daniel Dubois, but because of fighting, only way he could get prepared for Daniel Dubois is by his commitment, training, and conditioning, you know what I mean, to be able to do it, because he was prevented from being able to fight that he would have been developing for an opponent like Dubois, because Dubois was developing all the way down the line. That's why Frank Warren went out of his way to get the interim championship and to use all of his ingenuity and brain work to be able to force him into a mandatory position like he did. And so I tip my hat to Frank for being as audacious and how as knowledgeable of the game as he is, and he foreseen an opportunity for his fighter to get an opportunity to claim the heavyweight championship. All right, so now one thing he did, we was talking about why this thing goes off. When Mike Weber puts that fight on Saturday night, you can rest assured you will run into the difficulties that we have here today. Mike Weber is terrific, and I'm so very proud to be able to have him to be able to broadcast about Fight on pay-per-view, and I really thank Fight for doing that. So Josh, thank you, for presenting that, and you presented the best in pay-per-view programming and the best in reporting, journalistic expertise, and Dan Rayfield. So I'm dealing with all the best. Now y'all gonna see the rest. The rest is gonna be with my man. His name is Trevor the Dream Bryan. And when he goes in there and knocks out Dubois, Oh my God, everybody gonna be shocked. I can't believe it. I mean, what is it? It's a mystery. Let's have an investigation. Let's have an investigation. Because how could this possibly happen? You know, this is just impossible to happen.
It will be viewed, Don. I think it will be viewed as an upset, even though it's Dubois who's coming to Trevor's backyard, coming to the United States, coming to the other man's promotion. Do you agree that most people are going to view it as an upset if Trevor gets the victory?
The people think that, like I say, the English people that they put down so much money and they prevail upon people's mentality with such assured confidence and support that they already got the championship. All you got to do is go through the process. You know what I mean? So we're gonna see. We're gonna see do they have it or not. You know what I mean? That's what Cornwallis thought too. You know what I mean? But we got the United States of America, baby, to prove it. Independence, baby, separating from Great Britain. You know what I mean? In 13 colonies. You know what I mean? So we're right back at it again. We did it in 1776. We're gonna do it again in 2022.
Now you mentioned, Don, about the things that Frank Warren did, because I'll let the people know that Dubois had become the WBA's interim champion. And when they eliminated all of their interim titles as they were reducing all of their belts, they took those interim champions and they made them the mandatory challengers. And therefore, Trevor Bryan, as their second tier title holder, has to fight him, or as you said, he would lose his belt. So, but I wonder, you made the deal, or I guess I went to a purse bid, but the point is you've been in communication. Frank Warren is the promoter for Dubois. I wonder, how has it been dealing and working with your old friend, Frank Warren? You guys did a lot of big fights together back in the day, a lot of big fights over in the UK, over here. And you guys put on some, as you would say, super spectacular events at one point. So what's it been like working with Frank?
Well,
again?
you know, I got to tell you, I love Frank Warren. You know, no matter what they say or what they do, you know, Frank Warren and I have an intimate secret in this sport of boxing. And I helped him along as he was young, as a young man coming along. And I have to say, humbly, I taught him a lot. So therefore, he's something that I feel that's SKD, as we say in the vernacular of the ghetto, something kind of different. I mean, and he believes in his word. He believes in his word. When if he owe you, he say, I'll pay you. Well, if he don't have no money, he just said, leave it on that hold. I'll take care of it. You know what I mean? When he did it, he'd come back. His word meant more than a contract. His word, and that's what I do. I live by my word, you know, and dealing with people. So Frank went right behind me. I created that interim title for Trevor and working and develop it, but I didn't come behind it and replace the interim title when I gave it up to go to the title. Had I did that, I'd have been there and say, Frank jumped right in there. You know what Dan was saying when they cut up all these titles, but that one should have been filled. You know what I mean? But I said I tipped my hat to my guy Frank Warren. You know what I mean? Indubitably, he's the best out there. And so I was really happy to see him get it, even though I know he's coming to take my pie and go home with it. You know what I mean? I still think that Frank is great. And I think that Frank keeps his word, and what Frank does, his honor and his integrity means more to him than anything else. So I'm very appreciative of Frank being able to. In fact, I'm glad that Frank that got me up against the wall rather than somebody else that I know. So I'm happy, man. Whatever way it be, that's what it's going to be. But we're going to see history in the making, Dan. We're going to see history in the making.
One thing that you just mentioned, and what makes the fight even a little bit more intriguing, is, you know, it's one thing when you're doing Trevor Bryan against, you know, one of your other fighters, where whoever is the winner, Don King, is going to be the guy that's promoting him. This is a situation where it's the winner take all, baby. You know, if your guy wins, you know, you go and do your thing. If they win, they go do their thing, because it was a mandatory situation. So, you know, that makes a lot more stakes for the promoters in my mind. What are your thoughts about that?
That is just that you just said it. That is terrific, because it's winner take all. You know what I mean? So I'd rather, if I'm gonna lose something, I'd rather lose it to a friend. You know what I mean? Rather than to lose it to a stranger. You know what I mean? So this is a Frank win. I'll be the first one to congratulate him and shake his hand in the ring. And that's another thing about the sport of boxing. And the sport of boxing is the only sport in the world where you pummel and beat a guy to an inch of leaving here. You know, and then as soon as the bell ring and they announce you the winner, you grab the guy and hug the guy. No other team sport does that. You grab
Right.
the guy and hug the guy. And say, that's why boxing is so, because you're getting return matches. It's inevitable. You know what I mean? That's why when I fight, we fight for peace. You know, I became the peace ambassador. Shimon Peres made me the peace ambassador, and I talked to when I went to the Middle East. You know, I did what no one else could have done. You know, I talked to both sides. You know, and put the thing next to, and they came out. It was incredible. When I talked about this guy Kim Jong Un, you know what I mean? They said, how did they get to Kim Jong Un? Well, Kim Jong Un got to me. And so when they asked me about a quote that I put in the paper that no one else had, did you do this? Because they figured that Don King is total lie. You know, he just extemporaneously bragging and making up a story. He said, no, it's the truth. I did, blah, blah, blah. He put it right down the line. You know what I mean? So these are the things that Donald Trump, you know, and my situations for less than now a little over a year. It was under a year to see what we are in now with the inflation and all the different things, and finger pointing and blame for me. And now they're talking about bringing all it back to Trump. Ideas and things that he had done at that border is unreal. You know, and that debacle that happened in Afghanistan, leaving Americans there and leaving the American allies there and kicking women under the bus in Afghanistan. You know, it really hurt our reputation around the world because I'm an ambassador of peace around the world with our portfolio. And so what they do is I get calls from every president around the world and find out which this situation is, that situation is. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna give my honest opinion on whatever it is, and hopefully we can find some ways and some means to get peace. And that's what we must do with England. We must bring Vladimir Putin to the table of peace, because if you don't, it's going to inevitably lead to another world war. And we don't need no another world war. You know what I mean? Enough death has been out there. We got to fight for peace. And that's why I named this fight the Fight for Peace. The Ukrainians are fighting for their freedom and peace and their sovereignty to be able to run themselves and independence, just like we fought for independence from England. And then they want to be able to work toward prosperity. All right, so that's the same thing we're doing now in naming this fight freedom, fighting for freedom and peace, you know what I mean? And what Trevor has got to do, he's fighting for freedom and peace. He's been fighting because he's not known, so he needs to be the freedom to be able to get to know. And so he was hooked, line, and sinker, tied up by the WBA, and all praise to the WBA, because at least we do have the championship there. But nevertheless, and he can work toward prosperity, and he can work with independence where we can come and have these interviews with Dan about what is the next sport. Because what I like in the boxing business is when the person and the people, the fans say, when is the next one? You know what I mean? Not what a dirty fight. Oh, there wasn't nothing. That's why I put so many fights on, that they're all headliners. So therefore, one fight don't meet their optimistic point of view, the other one will. So that's why I always go do that. And I'm the only one in the world so far that has put on 8 world title fights in one night. In the late, great Mike Marley, you know, he was there with me. He was working with me then. You know what I mean? So Mike Marley was a heck of a guy too. But
Don, I was at that show when you did 8 title fights in Atlantic City, and I said, you remember that? I said to your great former matchmaker Bob Goodman, I joked around. I said, Bobby, I said, what are you serving breakfast in the media center? Because it was an entire card of all 8 12 rounders. There was no 4 rounders, no 6 rounders. We started super early. You came on pay-per-view early, and like you said, it was a true extravaganza. Bernard Hopkins in an undisputed middleweight championship fight. Ricardo Mayorga and Corey Spinks, an undisputed welterweight championship fight. You're bringing back all my memories.
Boy, you're amazing, Dan. You know, I'm telling you, you know, Josh and them, they're so proud when they got you. God damn, your memory is unbelievable. But that is the fact of life, and that's why I love Dan Rafael. That's the other thing he's gonna bring it to you. He's gonna bring you the truth. Some of the things may not be pleasant, they may not be nice that you're gonna see him to say, but he's gonna say them. And if later on you got to hug and say, hey, what is it? He said, I had to do it like I see it. You know what I mean? That's what I like about him. It's integrity, it is honor, and truth, and lie can live forever. So this is what makes this team that you got here fight tonight is great. And so what we are prognosticating and predicting and speculating, you're going to see that and more when Saturday night comes on June 11th, you know, which is just a few days away. You know what I mean?
And by the way, speaking of that fight, by the way, when you put that show on, I remember us riding on the bus together to Philadelphia for the press conference and having a good chat about what was going to happen on that show. Now you mentioned, I want to wrap up with this, Don. You mentioned that's the fight for peace and freedom, and I appreciate that. We don't agree on everything, but yes, the fact that we should not have war, we definitely agree on that. The only place we want to see a war is in the boxing ring on Saturday night. So I'm gonna give you one more chance to give me your take, your final prediction, your final sales pitch, if you will, on what can fans expect between Trevor Bryan and Daniel Dubois come Saturday night when they fight for the WBA heavyweight title.
It's going to be an internal combustion. It's going to be an explosion. It's going to be what the things that they have happen on the mountaintops where they have the volcanic eruptions. You know what I mean? No one will actually know what will or will not happen because everybody got fixed opinions. You know, they're going in, there's the open mindedness going into this fight. This fight here is going to a foregone conclusion. And that's where it's going to make so provocatively exciting because you're going to see as it evolves the history in the making taking place. And I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you join me and be with me on this fight with Dan and I when we're sitting there at ringside watching this history being made. Trevor Bryan is dedicated and committed to being the heavyweight undisputed champion. All right, Dubois has already said he's already a champion. He ain't got to go through none of that. Let's get this guy out of the way because I'm going to devastate. So it's going to be a great, great, explosive extravaganza. And I'm looking forward to everyone being there. And thank you, Dan, for having me on. And thank you, FITE. And Mike Weber, you're terrific. You know, man, don't let nothing happen to this fight on Fight Night. Make sure you get it there. So get it on Fight Night, you know what I mean, and on FITE TV on Saturday night, June 11th, for $29.99, and get the show of a lifetime because you're gonna have a fantastic card, a fantastic show, and you're gonna have internal combustion, a war within that square ring that's gonna be 20 by 20. It's gonna be super sensational, and I want you and all of your friends tell about it. Let them go. Get the word out. Up in arms for America. Up in arms, up in arms. The British are coming. The British are coming. And we got to fight for our independence. We got to fight for our freedom. We got to fight for our peace. And that's what we will be doing on Saturday night.
Don, I couldn't have said it better myself. You said it in a few more words than I probably would have, but I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to watching this heavyweight fight on Saturday and the undercard, by the way. And I thank you for doing this with me again. It was a lot of fun, and good luck with the fight on Saturday.
God bless, Dan. Thank you so much. Only in America. Let's go.
Don, thank
you.
you.
Get a UK time. I got to get a UK too. Here, long live the Queen. You know, the Queen had her 4 days, 70 years in power. Wow. Oh, God bless the Queen.
Well, hey, you know what? We are excited for this fight. And yes, of course, she had her platinum jubilee, I believe is what they called it, right?
Yes, sir.
70 years.
I want to talk about the platinum jubilee because I feel like I was supposed to come back here and do a hard sell, but I can't do it any better than Don King. So I think with that, I'm just going to say, Dan Rafael, thank you so much for taking the time to host this great Fight and Focus. Don King, thank you so much for taking the time to promote this great event, which of course is called Fight for Freedom and Peace. And it comes to you live June 11th, right here on FITE. For Dan Rafael, for Don King, I'm Josh Chernoff, and we will see you June 11th right here